In this video, I'm going to be going over how I pack my camera gear when I go on trips and when I'm traveling. There's really not much else to say before I get into it, so I'm just going to start off right away with obviously the bag I use to keep all my stuff, my camera equipment, sometimes other things in there. But in this video, I'm mainly going to be focusing on the camera stuff and filmmaking and photography tools in general. The bag itself is the Brevity Jumper backpack. I'm pretty sure I have the link in the description if you want to check it out. It's a great backpack. I love the color. I love almost everything about it. And it's really a great way to store all my stuff. So I guess I'm just going to start off with this main compartment in here, which is where I store my lenses and stuff like that. Right here, I would normally have a camera, obviously, but I'm filming on it, so it's not going to be in any of these shots. I do use a Canon T3i for all my recording and pictures and all that. I am planning to upgrade to a Canon R8 soon, hopefully, which that'll be really cool if I do. You might be seeing a video of that soon. But either way, that's where my camera goes right here. And then I have two other lenses besides the normal kit lens on my camera. In this slot, I keep the 50mm f1.8. This lens is amazing. Like, I actually love this thing. The image quality you get out of this thing is insanely sharp, and it's awesome that the aperture can open up that wide to let me get that blurry background when I'm filming. Now, this lens right here is actually a 75 to 200, 300 actually. So 75 to 300. I use this if there's ever like animals or something that I'm taking pictures of while on vacation. It really works amazing, and the only main downside to it is the aperture. It's a varying aperture, so when you zoom in, the aperture actually does close up a little bit. It's a 4 to 5.6. So when you're zoomed out all the way to 75mm, you're gonna be looking at a max aperture of 4.0. And when you zoom in to 300, you are gonna be closing that up to max aperture of 5.6. Basically, if you don't know what aperture is, it's how wide that part of your lens can open up to let in light. And the more open it is, the more light comes in and the more blurry the background of your videos is. I hope that explains it. And then this pocket right here, I actually have a GoPro Hero 8 with an extra battery in there. Nothing much to be said about that. It's just a pretty good action camera. And now the most recent addition to the gear I pack for trips is actually this Ugreen Nexode 100-watt charger. When you're on vacation or just traveling in general, it can be really hard to charge the batteries of different pieces of equipment like cameras, drones, lights, or really anything that needs charging. This Ugreen charger is a great way to make sure all your gear gets charged in the most efficient way possible, with multiple different ports including one USB-A and 3 USB-C. The worst feeling is when you're trying to get great footage or pictures of a location, but you have to preserve the battery life of your gear so you have enough for the rest of your trip. With the Ugreen Nexode 100-watt charger, you are guaranteed fast charging, so you don't have to worry about your equipment not being ready to use when you need it. The USB-C port even has 100 watts of charging power, so you can even charge the MacBook Air M2 to 55% in 30 minutes if you need to. On top of all that, this 100-watt charger is very reasonably priced at only $38.99, so you don't have to put a dent in your wallet to have efficient charging. I know from personal experience while on vacation that swapping out different gear on chargers to make sure it all has enough battery life for the next day can be a pain. Thankfully, I won't have to be dealing with that anymore. I want to give a big thanks to Ugreen for sending me over a couple of their products. If you are interested or you want to check out the Ugreen Nexode 100-watt charger or any of Ugreen's other products, check out Ugreen Black Friday deals to get up to 40% off in the description of this video so you can see it for yourself. Thanks again to Ugreen, and let's get back to the video. Before I talk about the next part right here, with this bag you can actually customize the way that you store your stuff. So I decided to do it this way so I could have a camera, two lenses, something small in this bag slot right here, and then something bigger here. I just feel like that's the most efficient way to store all the things. It comes with all these different Velcro things you can put in different ways, so you can customize it whatever way you want. Now for this little section, I have the Zhiyun M20C, which is a very powerful RGB light. I've made multiple videos of it or with it on my YouTube channel, including my last video, which was comparing this to a cheaper one if you want to go check that out. It is a little pricey, coming in at I think $160 for it with these accessories, but it's a beast, and I would say if you need an RGB light this powerful, it's worth the money. And also behind it, I just have this little cloth right here I use to clean lenses. The front of lenses usually get really dusty and gross, so it's just nice to have one of those. Okay, now moving on. Now I'm going to talk about what I keep in this more top half of the backpack, which doesn't have sections, it's just a pocket. The first thing is this Rode Video Micro. I used to keep the Takstar SGC 600 shotgun microphone in there, but I decided to use this one just because it's a little bit simpler and better for a range of different uses. It's not amazing, but it's super cheap, and I would definitely recommend it. The next very important piece of gear I pack is these wireless microphones from Hollyland. I'm using these microphones right now, and I have been using them recently in all my videos. They're pretty cheap and amazing quality for the price, so I would definitely recommend them. I did make a video on my channel doing a full review and test of these mics if you want to check it out. Now also in this section of the backpack, I keep this blower thing, which is to mainly blow dust out of things like my camera's sensor. Occasionally when I'm changing camera lenses, I'll just take my camera lens off, turn my camera upside down, and then just blow this in a couple of times and then put it back on, just so that way any dust that might be in there falls out. It's not something you're gonna need right now, but dust building up can be a big problem in the future. Now I'm gonna move on to some smaller accessories. This pocket right here is actually where I keep my ND filter. This is the JJC variable ND filter. I have it on the 58mm thread for my camera lens, but it comes in a bunch of different thread sizes, so you could get it for whichever camera lens you want. I've only had it for maybe half a year, but so far it's been amazing, and the build quality is really good. What it does as an ND filter is really awesome, and it also comes in a water-sealed case, so that's pretty cool. Another cool thing about this backpack is actually that this side right here opens up to allow you, wait one second if I can open it up, to grab out your camera if your camera is in the placement I have it, which is actually really cool. I don't use it too often because sometimes it can be hard to get it back in, especially if everything is falling that way with just the way all your gear is stacked. But I think that could be useful for a lot of people, especially if their camera is bigger. I don't know, maybe it's being smaller would help, but I don't think so. Now the last pocket is this right here. On top of the main compartment, there is this smaller compartment, which is where I store a lot of small things, like this SD card reader. Has a slot for SD card and micro SD card. I also have some random wires in here. SSD, which has actually come in handy before on a trip for transferring files from a different camera. This is the 1TB version, just like the small SanDisk one. Nothing really too special about it. I heard SSDs are supposedly more secure and solid than normal hard drives, so I decided to get one of these. They're more expensive, but I think that is worth it, especially if all your footage and all your pictures ever are on there, or at least from recently. That would not be good if something like that broke. And this last pocket right here is where I keep 2 batteries. These are 2 Power Extra batteries. I know it's a weird brand, but they actually work really well for my camera, and they're really cheap, so they work great for me, and I'm not complaining. I think I ran out of pockets to talk about, so I guess that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.